Note: if you wondered that Stanley gets possessed by the animal demon, he killed everyone. Note: this story is inspired by Wonder Pets, The Final Hours, Yo Gabba Gabba, Meteor, Higglytown Heroes, The End of Higglytown, Makamoru, The End of the Forest, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, The Final Day in the Neighborhood and Handy Manny, The Final Hours and Miss Spider, Sonny Patch's Final Hours. And also, this narrated by Ben, Eraser, Blocky, and Snowball from BFDI. So let's begin the story. The story. It started with Pen, Blocky, Eraser and Snowball playing a game of rock, paper, scissors until the mailman delivered a package which had the Stanley colors. Then Pen opened it, and it was a Stanley DVD. The DVD cover had Stanley holding Dennis Bowl, with Harry and Elsie behind him on a background of his house with text above them rating, Stanley, Season 4 is here, with the Playhouse Disney logo on the left bottom and the Cartoon Pizza and Disney DVD logos at the right bottom. The spine on the cover had, and back of the cover had, Season 4. Blocky asked, I thought it only had 3 seasons. Oh well, let's go watch the DVD, Pen spoke. Come on, Pen. Eraser told Pen. Yes yes yes. Blocky agreed. Come on, Snowball told us. Pen then opened the DVD to be what looked like a disc, and it looked like it was on a high budget. The disc had the same DVD cover. Pen, Eraser, Blocky and Snowball then gathered around the TV, as they put the DVD in the DVD player. Chapter 0, the DVD's opening logos, interlude. It started with FBI warning screen, but it went off. The background was red and orange, and there's the fire. Then Walt Disney Home Entertainment logo came up, but it also went off. The sky was orange and the text was burnt, just like the one in the end of Higglytown, and when the star stretched out, an explosion was heard in the background. Then it showed the Playhouse Disney logo, but the sky is dark lavender mixed with orange, and the sun and bird were gray as they were shocked. After those two logos, it showed some previews which again, like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, JoJo's Circus, Higglytown Heroes, Handy Manny, Special Agent Ozzo and Jungle Junction. After the previews, it took us to the main menu. The DVD menu had Dennis painting around, then he stopped and noticed the viewers as he, quite an entrance. Hey, Dennis asked. Welcome to my home. So glad you could dive in. He greeted. Now let me show you how everything works around here. It faded to Stanley's room, where Dennis Fishbowl was. You can use the arrow keys on your remote control to move through the choices. Dennis instructed. When an item you want to choose is highlighted, just press enter on your remote control to select it. There were 5 bubbles with text reading play all, story selection, bonus material, sneak peeks and setup, while Dennis read them. In this area you can choose different ways to play the program. Dennis began. So that's about it then. Easy as pie. Hey, off you go and enjoy. Well, let's just press play all, Eraser told them. Pen pressed play all so that Blocky, Eraser and Snowball can finally know the show. The DVD began. The DVD then showed the Disney DVD logo appeared, but it was different. The background was orange, the disc was broken in half, and when Tinker Bell appeared, she was carrying suitcases. Come on, Bus. She whimpered, in the voice of Princess Samurai from Shimmer and Shine. I don't want to die. Wait. I remembered what the East told me. Panicking will make this disaster worse. Just then, she heard the bus beep. Oh, good. She sighed in relief. The bus is here. The bus then arrived. As Tinker Bell hopped on, the bus drove off ending the logo. After the strange logo, it showed the episodes that were playing in order with A Little Nightingale, Super Squirrel, Ice Cream for Ice Cream, Snack Savers, and Picnic, The Tooth About Teeth, Me and My Pal Fish, At the Zoo, Worms at Work, Caterpillar Countdown, Searching for Spring, Save the Blue Bird. After the episodes, it showed a warning, which took place in one of the backgrounds from the credits. Warning, the following episode may contain death and destruction that are related to apocalyptic movies such as 2012, Cleany Brown, Kevin Shawn and Ted Morgan, before they got fired in Cartoon Pizza, so it may be inappropriate for younger audiences. Watch at your own risk, thank you. Oh. Blocky shocked. Chapter 1, the intro. The intro then played, but the background were orange, and the singing became demonic. But no one in Stanley's world noticed though, and there were lots of changes made. There was fire in the background. The computer that Stanley searched the monkey had the East mark on a TV screen in the jungle behind the monkey. When Stanley captured the lion, the camera shot was replaced by some explosion. At the end Stanley was covered his ears and the United Kingdom East played in background. When Harry and Elsie ran, a demonic scream was heard. Then came the show's logo, but the letters were black, and around it was red. Just like the end of Higglytown. After the weird theme song, the episode began. The episode title faded into Read the Final Hours. Instead of Dennis reading the title card, it was a 8-ball voice reading the card. It started with the Stanley's house at morning. Guys, guess what? Harry asked. It cut to an excited Harry. D&D are coming to our house. Then they heard door knocked. Okay, I will open the door. Mark Griff said. He opened the door to see D&D. Well, they're here, he called. Hi. D greeted. Hello. Mark Griff greeted back. So, are you ready for this? Elsie asked. Yeah, D&D exclaimed. Good. Just sit at the table, and if there's not enough chairs, grab some extras, Joyce Griff informed. Chapter 2, No Foods Inside the Fridge. As Stanley Griff checked the fridge, he was surprised. There was no food inside the fridge. Oh, we're out of cereals. Stanley Griff shocked. Oh no, he gasped. Where are we going to find food that we can actually eat from? Guys, calm down. I know somewhere. Dennis thought. It then faded to Stanley and his parents and Dennis, Harry and Elsie and D&D arriving at Walmart. Chapter 3, Walmart. Wait, I don't remember seeing a Walmart super center in Stanley. Penn thought. Here we are, Walmart. Lionel Griff told them. I have never been to that place before. He gasped. I have heard that this place is totally worth it. Mark Griff gasped too. Well, let's head in. Stanley and his parents and Dennis, Harry and Elsie and D&D were excited to see what Walmart looked like. And at once, they were all amazed at how good Woman looked like. Which one should I pick? Stanley asked. I think you should pick the cereals, fruits, vegetables, and many more, Mark Griff told Stanley. Okay, Dad. Stanley said. I got an apple. Dennis said. And I got grapes. Elsie said. And I got meat. Harry said. But wait, there's more. D said. It then showed a 30-second montage of the gang getting the food later. Chapter 4, The East. Joyce Griff was about to say something. Alright, now where do we? But before she could finish, the East alarm played in the speakers. What's going on? Stanley shouted. Then an announcer spoke which sounded like Anchor from TPOT. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. All normal broadcasting, radio broadcasting, and even more has been discontinued during this alert. There is an asteroid that is named N62 meteor, is going to hit the planet, and it'll cause severe damage to vehicles, buildings, and even more. Seek shelter immediately. If there's no shelter available, get to the public shelter. If you don't have a vehicle, then get to a bus stop, or a taxi cab stand, or a tricycle or a motorcycle, and ask to get to the public shelter. If you're not able to find a bus stop, or a taxi cab stand, or a tricycle or a motorcycle, then run to the public shelter as quick as possible. Do not panic, remain calm. Panicking will make this disaster worse. So stay tuned for more information about the situation, and good luck seeking shelter. D was about to scream, but luckily, Lionel covered his mouth and asked, Did you listen? Panicking will only make it worse. Okay, but we need to head to the checkout. D thought. They then headed to the checkout, and they headed out of the Walmart. When they were out of Walmart, they saw that the sky was turning red, and everyone was rushing to the shelter. Mark Griff called a taxi, and they went in, without a driver. Why is there no driver? Mark Griff asked in horror. No time to ask. Stanley Griff berated. Get in. Move. 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 They all nodded as they got in. Chapter 5, The East Mock. Soon afterwards, it cut to R&S watching TV. All of a sudden, their expressions changed from happy to shocked. As the East alarm played, then it showed the front view of the TV. Oh no. S panicked. This can't be. We're doomed. S started to scream, but he sounded like alphabet lore scream sound effects. AZ, by Martin Lazaraga. S, panicking will only make this worse. No, not me, it's Letter, responded. Whatever the case, let's race to the car, and look for shelter. R exclaimed. They all raced to the car, and went for a ride to find shelter. Meanwhile in the taxi, Stanley Griff checked his phone, and he was surprised. The world will end in 5 minutes. He warned. It then cut to a close-up of the phone. Heck no, he screamed. It's okay guys. I found shelter. D informed Blocky. Then let's head for it. Harry exclaimed. Hang on tight people. D exclaimed. He put it on full power. Miraculously, the car landed in the shelter without crashing. When they arrived at the parking lot, everyone got off. The next thing they saw was John's car crashing into the parking lot. Silly car. R berated. Well, what do you know? D asked as R&S climbed out of the car. It's those guys again. The ones that were trying to take over my theme song. I explained. No time for fighting. The world will end soon. Stanley berated. Chapter 6, Everyone arrived in shelter. It then cut to a plane that had arrived at the shelter. People were screaming as they were getting into the shelter. It then cut to many number lore and Playhouse Disney characters, as well as mascots for logos like Cartoon Pizza, arriving at the shelter. Like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Gang, 1, 2, and 3, the Little Einsteins, Jojo and Goliath, Cartoon Pizza, Higgly Kids, Tinker Bell, Lester Goldberg, Marcy and Mimi, and Imagination Movers Gang. Soon afterwards, it cut to everyone at the shelter. We're glad you arrived. Stanley relieved. Say, who are these people? Mark Griff asked. Then they all greeted themselves. After greeting themselves, D&D and Stanley and his parents and Dennis, Harry and Elsie introduced themselves. Just then, the scene cut to the meteor soaring for 15 seconds, then it cut to the gang in the shelter. Lionel, any updates? Wayne asked. Let me check for 1 sec. Lionel informed. Gonna end in 1 minute, get to the public shelter fast. Oh no. Lionel gasped. I think the world will end in 1 minute. 1 minute. June gasped. Holy Grail. Mickey and Minnie panicked. We're gonna go boom. Imagination Movers Gang screamed as well. None of us wanna die. France screamed. I don't want to die too. Jojo agreed. Hurry, everyone. Get into the shelter. Now. Then after everyone got in, Jojo and Goliath got in the bunker. Chapter 7, The Countdown. Then as the meteor was about to hit the ground, a countdown began. But with every number the scene changed. 10. The helicopter on fire, after it crashed to the Earth protection sign. 9. Well, it's the end. Let's all say our goodbyes. Cartoon Pizza sobbed, in the voice of Daddy Dinky Doo, aka Pinky Stad. 8. A stick figure running from a street. 7. Watch their heads. Tinker Bell alerted. 6. It's going to blow. The Little Einsteins screamed. 5. D, E, I, R, and S screaming in horror. 4. We're gonna explode and become non-existent. The Higgy kids panicked. 3. Cars crashing into places. 2. Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy and Mimi braced for impact. 1. The Great Big Book of Everything where Stanley and his friends travel. 0. The meteor hit the ground causing an explosion. The scene then cut to parts of the Earth exploding as an orchestral version of the My Man Stanley by Batman was playing in the background. But it was played in a key of F, and in a minor key. It then transitioned to the bunker, which was blasting off in the explosion. A coughs when the entire world got destroyed. What happened? A groans. And where's everyone? What is happening? Harry screamed. Dante no. It's the end of the world. D screamed. OOHHNOOO. UB yelled. Brace yourselves. 1 panicked. We're going down. Marcy yelled. Everyone in the bunker was screaming, which all sounded like the characters of their own, plus the BFDI, and Little Einstein's scream. It then faded to black. It stayed black for 30 seconds. Chapter 8, The Bright Figure. Until a bright figure of the Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi faded in. There was a 70-year-old man speaking in the background. Wake up, Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi. The boy voice spoke. Who is it? Lionel asked tiredly, at a screen. It's me, Jim Jenkins. 14. The boy voice spoke. Jim Jenkins. Stanley questioned tiredly, at a screen. I gotta ask you all, is this series over? The boy voice asked. What? Lester Goldberg questioned tiredly, at a screen. If yes, it is. If no, it's not. So pick a choice. Never mind. Anyways, it's over. The boy voice spoke. Then the bright figure faded out slowly. Wait. I said. What if the entire world has gotta be back to normal? It then faded into the Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi waking up from their blackout, and everyone got out of the shelter and looked around. This is the end. Stanley gasped. Of course it is. Harry agreed. It then cut to the Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi walking through a destroyed city looking concerned. Oh no. Marcy gasped. The Earth is destroyed. There are piles of debris everywhere. Elsie stated. Chapter 9, The Stanley's room is completely destroyed. After that, it showed the Stanley's house now in ruins. What happened to my house? Stanley gasped. It caught on fire due to the meteor's force, the firefighter explained. Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi faces then turned sad. Oh no, how could this be? Lionel gasped. I can't believe it. We traveled at the Great Big Book of Everything for a very long time. Harry sobbed. The Great Big Book of Everything is completely destroyed. Marcy whimpered. Now we have nowhere else to live. Lionel said. Why? Dennis cried. Everyone got where the Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi were. Okay, why did you guys go away, he asked, before finishing his sentence. What happened here? He wondered. It looks like the Stanley's house is on fire. Quincy panicked. Now where will Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi? Twinkle cried. It's all gone now. Fran sobbed. The poor Stanley's house is in ruins. The great big book of everything. Scott said. We will miss you tremendously. So long, the great big book of everything. Where's Rocket? Leo asked. I don't know. Stanley answered. He wasn't in the shelter. You don't think he got destroyed by the meteor, right? Mark questioned. Everyone then turned around, saw Rocket, and gasped. Rocket was indeed destroyed by the meteor. In fact, he got killed by the meteor as he didn't talk. Rocket, no. The little Einsteins gasped in horror. It was right before everyone started crying. But it sounded like all of their voice actors were crying in pain. Goodbye forever, Rocket and the great big book of everything. Everyone sobbed. Everyone then immediately started breaking down into tears, ending the episode. The credits then rolled, but they were different. The credits were playing slower by 2x, the backgrounds were orange, the animals were all worried, and the music that was playing in the background was Night Mode, Low Fury Mix, by Jack and Jellify. How did we watch? Pen shocked. Before the logo came up, the message, the psychotronic font say, thank you for watching Stanley. Cartoon Pizza and Playhouse Disney logo came up, but it messed up. Cartoon Pizza came up, but the galaxy was brown. Pizza was covered his ears, because of USA East. Playhouse Disney original came up, but the sky was red, and Sun and Brid was covering their ears in USA East played again. Finally, it came to the Buena Vista International Television logo, but everything is black and dark crimson, and it is a face looking at us, and the splatter music is heard. It cut to black for 5 seconds, before static filled the screen, and jumpscare scared us. It was an edited picture of the 3 animals from Join the Circus where the ringmaster penguin advised them to split up, and they look at the camera after hearing it, but they had BFDI mouths and their eyes were black hollow holes with blue, green, and red dots and they were crying blood. The creepy imagery featured the screaming of the Wonder Pets from Save the Wonder Pets, where they were being swallowed whole by a whale, the Addy/Alphinum, the Sonic Point Egg scream, the Gummy Bear scream, the Godzilla roar, the BFDI scream, Studio 989's Void logo scream and the Void Einstein scream. After the jump scare, it cut to an aqua background with the Stanley and his parents, Dennis, Harry, Elsie, Lester Goldberg, Marcy, Mimi at the bottom, and on the top text said, thanks for traveling with Stanley. Accompanied that was Rob the Robot theme song, instrumental, from Rob the Robot. This went on for 30 seconds, before cutting to black for 1 second, and then taking us back to the menu. That was weird, Eraser thought. Snowball ejected the disc, and burned it with Fiery. Blocky sent an email to Jim Jenkins. Meanwhile he emailed us, they said, I'm sorry if you were scared of Stanley. Final Hours episode. It was made by Gleanie Brown, Kevin Sean and Ted Morgan. They decided to make the episode around 2012. He was fired after he animated it and aired it on Playhouse Disney, and we gonna put them to prison after making that episode. It was originally planned for a scrapped season 4, but it tried to be taken down due to its outcome. But released because it was too late. Snowball, Blocky, Eraser and Pen are angry at Gleanie Brown, Kevin Sean and Ted Morgan for making that episode. Gleanie Brown, Kevin Sean, and Ted Morgan are cowards. Snowball, Blocky, Eraser and Pen really started to have nightmares about that episode. Trust me, you don't want to see the DVD of a scary lost episode. I'm serious, don't watch it. I beg you. The end.